Hi there, guys. Hi there, you stinky weebs. Welcome back to the channel. Another video here. Now, today we're going to be talking about live service, what I think of it, and how it should really be implemented in today's gaming sphere. Now, live service, I think, has been mostly looked at as negative. I mostly look at it as negative as well. Now, there are a couple of companies and a couple of games that have properly utilized live service in a proper way to really keep their games supported and retain their player base. A good example of this would be Hello Games No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky released in an absolutely atrocious state. I hate the company for releasing the game in that state. However, you can't help but love the company for giving it 6 years of dedicated support, patches, upgrades, new content, all for free. It's something. If they really wanted to make up for it, that's exactly how you do it. Another game would probably be Fortnite. Fortnite, even though you might hate it, it is a great example of what a good live service can do to a game. Now, Fortnite mostly appeals to the younger demographic, and it does a really good job at catching a younger demographic's attention. Okay, with constant content being brought in month after month, it is not strange for people to, for whatever reason, hole up with Fortnite because they keep getting new content added in. On top of that, I hate to say it, but their season pass actually works. Well, I have played a bit of Fortnite and I bought into the season pass. And guess what? Because I bought into it, the season pass actually gives me enough uh, in-game credits to keep purchasing the season pass basically until forever, and then plus a little bit more in-game currency to buy whatever skins I want from the store. So the season pass is actually well implemented in Fortnite. It's strange. Now, those are two games, and I think those two games are probably they're apart. They're part of a very small group that I think have done a good job with live service. Most games nowadays, Battlefield, Halo, Call of Duty, Overwatch, League. I'm not sure about League, I don't play League. But a lot of these large AAA games have been using live service as a form of crutch, as a form of early life support. Really, they're really pulling out the embryo out of the mother really early, throwing it into intensive incubation, outside incubation to keep the game alive because they want to get the game out as fast as possible. Uh, you know, they they apply day one patches, optimizations after the game is released. Then after that, they release content every so often, as you would hope they do. However, because there's so many bugs, the game glitches out so much, the dev time is really split between the it really puts a split in the dev team where one group has to work on future content and another group needs to work on patching the game. It's insane. So this basically cuts down the amount of time or the amount of resources available to developers to work on new content for games because the game was ripped out so damn early. Battlefield is criminally involved with this. Each time there's a new Battlefield game, this is exactly what they do. They actually dedicate the first year basically to updating the game. Um, Updating the game, patching bugs, and then after about a year, then they start really focusing on new stuff, new guns, new maps, more stuff that we wanted. However, that's a year after release. So if you are going to buy a Battlefield game, buy a game after the first year, or after it's fully patched and fully functional, and you actually have content coming up that you can look forward to. Now, Halo also is did this pretty badly. Halo Infinite did a very bad job at retaining player base simply because there wasn't enough content. There was not enough, it's fine you can have an arena shooter, but if you don't deliver constant content to this type of arena shooter, it's gonna fizzle out pretty damn quickly. I mean, the game didn't even release with Forge, the community-based content generator that Halo really needed in the beginning. If the developers themselves weren't going to release content, then you might as well have left it to the community to generate some. I mean, even Battlefield 2042 managed to do this with its Portal game mode, even though for the most part was used as a bot farmer. It was still there. And if you were bored of the 2042 experience, you can go into there and look for a lobby that had something else. Not even Halo Infinite, the one that pioneered it with Forge, had that at launch, and they barely released it a year later. And I think it's a year too late. You know, players nowadays have the attention span of a goldfish. They move on really quickly, especially with these type of multiplayer games, where really there's really no story to attach them to the game. A really long-lasting live service game would probably be Destiny. Destiny 2 actually has persisted this long because of constant expansions and constant updates to the game. Now, I've dabbled only lightly with Destiny. I've played a couple times with friends. However, honestly, for barely looking in, it looks pretty fun. Yes, it's pretty overwhelming with all the menus and everything going on with it, but if you're really looking to get into it, it actually doesn't look that bad. There's constantly going to be stuff going on in the future because it's lasted this long. The same can't be said with Halo nor Battlefield because they're just so slow to release content. Live service, in a perfect world, would be a great system to make sure that the community stays engaged and that there's fresh content at least monthly. However, companies don't respect that. They don't respect you. They promise you the world with a lot of these games when they are released or when they're announced, and then when they're released, you notice all of the pitfalls that really they didn't really bother to fill. It's not hard optimizing the game before it's released. It is not hard applying that day one patch, before the game is released. It's not hard, maybe delaying the release of a game for another day, at least online, to at least include that day one optimization patch. It's not hard for companies to do these things. However, they want to get this game out as fast as possible because the more games are bought today means that there's more money in your bank account today. And if it's released tomorrow, well, you never know. People might back out because of whatever reason. Maybe they lost interest in your game because it was delayed for a day, I guess. I don't know. But game companies, for whatever reason, are in a rush to release. They're always in a rush. Of course, the drastic opposition to that would probably be Star Citizen with its development time of 8-9 years or whatever, extremely long. But that's another case, another can of worms for a different video. Live service can work very well as long as developers know what they're doing, what they need to release, and there's actually a roadmap ahead of them. If they release a buggy mess and half of the development studio is dedicated to squashing those bugs, that doesn't leave a lot of developers to work on cool stuff for the future, and it really doesn't paint a pretty picture of where the game is going, and so it turns into a mess, right? So it sucks. Live service as a general has flopped. I really do hope that companies get their shit together to actually utilize live service as it was intended to, not as a cop-out to release a minimal viable product, okay? There's lots of potential in a lot of developers and a lot of franchises nowadays. People say, oh, they got to innovate more. I think they got to just bring it down some. Take a deep breath, bring it down to what people really want to play. There's sure in cinematics, too much fan service can ruin a movie, but I believe in video games, it's all about fan service. If you are producing a game in a franchise, you honestly know what your fans want. Deliver on that and more, you know? If your fans want horror, deliver horror. Keep producing content that matches that, you know? But companies are, I don't know, they're slow. There are, I'm not sure if they're inept or if there's just, harassment from their publishers or from higher on up. And it gets in the way of producing content, but live service as it is today is just not working, right? Um, that's my opinion on live service. It can work, it really can, but unfortunately, the powers that be are really infringing on the ability to deliver content. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you liked the video and stay stinky.